Hey there, YouTube! Mr. Fedora Man here. This is Chapter 11. This is the full fight, actually. This wasn't too long of a fight. I mean, this episode, as you can see, does clock in at around 23 minutes, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So yeah, I don't even know why I was using the torch thing, because... well, I guess it does give you good visuals on these freaking dudes here. So, how is everyone doing? I realized when I was doing commentary yesterday that I totally skimmed over this part, so that's why there wasn't a part. This part's probably not going to get uploaded until either... probably sometime in the evening. I thought that I was doing the right one, but, well, it looks like I have commentary recorded for another episode, so thank God I don't need to... got one ahead this time. So really all you can do in this one is you gotta wait for the enemies to kind of attack you. Also, in case you hear fumbling of packaging around right now, I'm about to open up a Crispy Crunch bar. Now, these things are just amazing. I love these Crispy Crunch bars. Oh, so good. Oh man, getting off topic because post-commentary. Oh man. And see, holy shit, look at all those guys. So, I believe there's actually a third ship that gets involved now that I think about it as well. I can't quite remember. But, it just gets nuts. It gets redonkulous here. And then I think I missed that support right there, you could see. I think I picked that up, but... yeah. Whew. Man, this mission, there's a lot of these missions, well, maybe not a lot, but, you know, where you gotta wait for the enemies to come to you. I do like that better than going after the enemies, because if the enemies are coming to you, you can prepare yourself more, but if you're going after them, if you mess up, you have to kind of take a little step out of your plan to accommodate what's going on with them. So, yes. Hopefully I'll be able to wrap this little bonus project up soon. So I'd like to move on to some other LPs. But I figured that since I said that I would probably do this Ephraim's path, that I might as well do it. Because I really like this game. It's a fun game. And I don't have a problem playing it again. But yeah, look at all those guys on there, like, Jesus Christ. I mean, they're not very strong compared to my units, but... I don't exactly know what to say, actually. Kinda... been a slow day today. I'll say that. Seeing the clock ticking and ticking, and it just, you know, goes on forever. I'm taking a break right now. See, I'm thinking about... trying to think of what Let's Plays I want to do. But I'm not exactly sure. Oh, see, this is the part where they try to board you, yeah. So that they don't just stare at you. You can actually put units on those planks and then just have them come to you. I think I do that with Gilliam here. Either that or Amelia, one of the two. I put them out there, because they're kind of tanky units, and then they get to soak up all the damage. Yeah, and here I was looking through for any items that I might possibly get. And also, yeah, like I was saying, I want to move on to different Let's Plays, like, but at the same time, I don't quite know what I want to do as Let's Plays. Like, so far with the recording methods that I have, I don't have any method to record anything other than Game Boy Advance footage, which, yeah, you've probably heard this many times before, but I'm gonna be sticking with Game Boy Advance games for now until I can get a better recording setup, because yeah, that's all I can actually record at this moment. So if you do have any Game Boy Advance games that you'd like to recommend to me that I would give a go, I would most certainly take it into consideration, because I seem to be more prone to accepting request Let's Plays when I don't really know what I'm doing next. Because I do want to kind of open up my my spectrum on games here and get, you know, different games, know different titles and things like that. I'm also thinking about, since I did Fire Emblem the Sacred Stones, I'm thinking about doing Fire Emblem itself, like Fire Emblem the original. I'm thinking of doing it, but I'm not quite sure. Because that game is significantly harder. This this Sacred Stones game is supposed to be one of the easier games in the series, where it's kind of an intro to the Fire Emblem series, as it doesn't really follow any other timelines. Well, not timeline, but it doesn't follow the same story and characters as I believe they introduced this this continent or country or whatever it is at the beginning of the game. So it's kind of its own separate place. That's why it works so well, because you can just tie it off, be like, hey, this is where this part occurred, and now we're getting back into the main stuff. Which, I'm not actually a big buff on Fire Emblem lore, or knowledge, or whatever you want to call it, so, I might be totally wrong, I might be totally talking out of my ass right now. But yeah, it's kind of, to me, this seems more of an isolated little series. Or this game seems to be isolated in the series, as it, one, it's more beginner friendly, and two, it's got its own storyline. Because in certain other, well, I guess in all the Fire Emblem games they do have their unique storylines, but some of them, you know, some of them are like direct sequels, or games that revolve around the same kind of characters, so it's harder to mess around with it. Oh man, I'm rambling. I gotta think of something else to say. I don't know what else to say. How does anybody else? I like water. That's what I was getting at. I like water. Oh, water is so good, especially when you're Let's Playing. I don't know why. Togain likes to call it LP water. It's really good stuff. I don't know. I guess it keeps you hydrated. That's probably why. Not like I do love iced tea. I will say that's another thing. I do love iced tea, and I like drinking iced tea during recordings, but it does kind of hype me up a little bit because of the sugar and whatnot. But that's fine. Sometimes you need a little energy boost during the day. Yeah. There's not a whole lot I could say about this chapter. I mean, it's pretty much boat goes up against your boat. You gotta wait for them to try and board your boat, and you just defend against it. So like I said, I like these a little bit more, but they do tend to get really dull, because by the first couple of turns you've already figured out what's gonna happen. You just gotta set up for defenses, and sometimes I'm kind of bad at managing my unit sometimes during these kinds of chapters, or these defending chapters, so I end up like putting all my strong people in the front, and then it kind of like piles up all the other weak people in the back. Maybe not necessarily weak, but the people that I don't want to throw up in the front line. Like here I was debating, because Joshua is a very strong, maybe not a very strong unit, but a very, he can hit lots of criticals and whatnot, but I don't want him to, I don't think he's got the greatest of defense, so I don't want him to go up there and get absolutely wrecked. That's kind of what I mean. Like, the more fragile units, I tend to keep at the back, which sometimes the game likes to throw you off of your balance and be like, well, since you're heading forward with all your strong units, we're just going to make units appear at the back so that you're going to have to also defend your back. And they're usually cavalier units, or units with high movement, like flying demons, or cavaliers, so that they can catch up with however far you moved. So it does keep you on your toes. It does. Oh shit. It's starting to get warmer here, speaking of... Now I'm going to start speaking of the weather. It's starting to get warmer here, which is great. It's been very, very cold recently, and I don't know why. It's freaking... What is it? It's almost... It's the end of May. It is Tomorrow, which would be May 31st, is the last day of May. It's almost June, people. Ow, I just hit my microphone, sorry. It's almost June, and we're just getting... Well, I don't know. It's been kind of murky over here. We've been having a lot of crappy weather. See, look at that. Gilliam's a beast. But yeah, it's been raining for the past couple days. I don't know about what's going over in your guys' places, in your cities and whatnot, but it has been raining for, I think, past 3 or 4 days. Maybe even 5, maybe closer to a week. It has been raining non-stop, whether it be misting or full-on torrential rain. It's just terrible. And now we're starting to get more sunlight out, so that's good. Because it is technically summer, we should be getting some sun. That would be nice. So yes. And also, now that I think about it, with these creatures on Fire Emblem, I don't often see them do criticals. Like, I know every unit in this game can get a critical. Well, I don't know, that might not be true. I think most units can get a critical. But I never really see the enemies get criticals. Even when they have, like, have killer equipment and stuff like that. Well, mostly on these demons. Like, I know what the normal human sprite kind of things look like. I know that, but I just don't exactly know the demon ones. But then again, these guys aren't very strong, so even if I did, it'd be really hard to get them to show, you know. Because most of them have like a 0 crit chance, as you can see, so it's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it's good because I'd rather not get critical by these guys. Thank you very much. That's not fun. There's a little surprise coming up in this chapter, actually. Yep, right here, another ship. So that is right, another ship boards onto that, and there you go! It's La Rochelle and Dolza. See, in this chapter, La Rochelle and Dolza are actually recruitable characters that you can now, you have in, as I stated, you can recruit them, you can have them in your team. But I was a little slow on the draw, and I didn't actually get La Rochelle. I think I was like 1 space away from talking to her. And then you need to use La Rochelle to talk to Dolza, and then Dolza will join you. But Dolza's a berserker, and he's not all that great, though, unfortunately. He's not too good of a berserker. Ross is a much better berserker. I think even Garcia could be a better berserker than he can. Wait, can Garcia become... Yeah, I think Garcia could become a berserker. I don't normally use him. See, that's the thing. I guess that's why I find axe-wielding units more interesting, like Hector from Fire Emblem, and Ross from this game, because I don't use a lot of axe units now that I think about it. It's mostly lances and swords. Just because, well, I don't know, swords, you know, lots of people have swords in this game, and swords are kind of cliche. You know, it's the whole medieval kind of time frame, and everyone's using swords and shit, but lances are pretty cool, I have to admit that. Lances are pretty cool. They've got a long reach, and as far as I know, it probably takes a lot of finesse and stamina to be able to wield them and use them properly. Axes, on the other hand, are kind of like chop and slash and whatnot. That's why I do enjoy units such as Gilliam or Amelia when they get class changes, that they get access to more equipment, just more over than lances. Because when Gilliam was a knight, he only had one type of weapon, which was a lance. But now that he's a general, he has lances, swords, and axes, so he's more versatile, and it's easier to put him into situations where he can dominate. Same goes for Amelia and any other units. Like, when you promote your magic units, such as Arthur or Lute, they can go into... They could be sages, and sages are pretty cool because they have almost every form of magic, just like... or of attack with magic, kind of like Kind of like the great knights and generals. I believe sages can use... I know sages can use whatever magic they were currently... Oh no, they can use anima magic, they can use light magic, and they can use staves. But they can't use dark magic. Druids and shamans are the only ones that can use dark magic. And I actually really enjoy dark magic in this game. It's really cool. I mean, you don't get to see it all that often, so I guess that's kind of why it's cool. That may be where the same fascination comes with me with axes in Fire Emblem, whenever I get the chance to use them. Just because you don't see them a lot. They're not very prominent. And even if they are, they're like freaking Flux or some stupid bullshit where you see all the time. Oh, now that I think about it, this is kind of what I think about. Oh shit! About the weapon triangle. I was thinking this over. I thought this over a long time ago, but I just thought of it now to mention it. Cause you know, in the weapon triangle where it's swords beat axes, axes beat lances, lances beat swords, and there's the boss, by the way. I think I figured out why. It might just be my own pure reasoning. I'm not quite sure. I might just be crazy. But I see it like this. Swords fighting... When the swords wins against axes, I can see that because sword wielders with swords, it's... You have more movement speed with a sword, because with a sword you don't exactly need to put a lot of power into it. With an axe you do need to put a lot of power into it, because that's where it gets its devastating attack power from. It's being able to slam the axe down. So I think that since swords are lighter and you can move easier around with them, you can easily dodge an axe person's attack and then follow up with a quick slice on them or something like that. Now for axes versus lances, I can see that. Well, let's think about it here. A lance is a stick, a long stick with a pointed end. Now, if that pointed end, you've got to be very precise with the lance. So if you miss the lance, if you miss your first like lance stab or whatever, I think it'd be a stab. If you miss the stab or the attack of the lance, an axe person can either dodge it or they can either dodge it or whatnot, and then they can just swing their axe down and chop the lance in half, and there you go. You don't have a lance anymore. That's my reasoning on that. And then lances versus swords, both of them are fairly light weapons, and you can get very quick with them. But I think that this might also go for axes too. I don't know. That the lance has, since the lance has more reach, if you do miss, that makes you. Wait, no. I was talking about lances, swords. So lances with their greater reach, and swords don't have as much reach as a lance does. So a lance can easily can attack the sword user from far away. Because with a sword, you need to close in on your opponent. Otherwise, you can't really get any good swings in. And if a lance can keep you at bay, then the swords aren't very effective against it. So that was my long-winded explanation of why I think the weapon triangle works as it is. And then the magic one, I didn't even really think about the magic one. Isn't the magic one... Okay, well that's dark magic. So dark beats anima, anima beats light, light beats dark? I think that's it. I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of weird. It probably makes more sense. Well, I know it has to be light against dark. And the only other magic in there is anima, so I guess dark would have to be good against anima, which would lead anima to be good against light. Or it could be the total opposite. I could be completely wrong. It's been a while since I've actually really concerned myself with the magic triangle, or the trinity of magic as they call it. Because I use most of my magic uses on the melee fighters, so it doesn't really concern me. So yes, I can't remember. I think we just needed to defeat all the enemies here. There's a whole shitload of eyeballs. And see, this is what I didn't count on when I was I was thinking about recruiting La Rochelle just for the fact that, well, why not? Because it might as well. But I was thinking, I didn't take into consideration that Dolza would attack people. So that's kind of what screwed me over. Because I killed all the enemies that I could, and I forgot about Dolza, and then Dolza killed the last one. I believe that's how it goes. It's quite unfortunate. I missed out on getting La Rochelle, but that's alright. It means, like, when I find Renak, I don't need to recruit him. I can just kill him and take his member card. Because sometimes recruiting people is a lot harder than it is to just outright kill them. And then, look at that. You know, I actually haven't seen as many criticals as I could have in the playthrough that I've done so far of this. Which is kind of disappointing because in my actual Let's Play, I believe I had like a whole buttload of freaking criticals. Like, Ford doing criticals all the time. It was mostly Ford. But yeah, and then Dolza goes up to this last... Or no, then the eye attacks. Yeah, and then Dolza takes it out. And this is one of these chapters in the game where this chapter just kind of flows onto the next one. And look at that, critical too. So this is why this one, there's not a lot of exposition at the end here. There's not a lot of dialogue, because it just kind of cuts back into another fight. We're like, oh, look at you! Hey, thanks for being here. And then we land, and it's like, oh shit, monsters! Oh! So that's where that comes from. Anyways, we're getting very, very close to the end of this commentary. I hope it wasn't too dreadfully boring. I'm kind of... I don't know, I'm not in a talkative mood today. Well, I mean, I'm always in a talkative mood, but I'm not in that talkative of a mood. Wait. Okay, I think La Rochelle actually joined you regardless. I'm not sure, though. It might just say that for the sake of the story. Because she does kind of have to be in the story for certain things to actually make sense, like going to Roston for one. So I would go to Roston if we, yeah, didn't know that the Sacred Stone was still there. We would have like never gone to Roston. But and then, oh yeah, and then she says Dolza will be joining too. I don't know. Maybe I should check my file afterwards. I should see if they joined up. I can't quite remember. If they do, it doesn't quite matter. If they don't, it doesn't matter either way. Anyways, we're getting like 20 seconds before the end of this video, so I will, I'll see you next time. We'll take on right away Chapter 12. So, I thank you very much for watching, and this is Mr. Fedora Man signing off. Bye.